KKCI FM, Goodland, Colby, and NWKS radio station.
With SRN News, I'm Rich Thomason in Washington. A Wisconsin judge faces charges for allegedly helping an illegal alien escape arrest by ICE agents. The Mexican national was in Judge Hannah Dugan's courtroom for a hearing on charges stemming from the beatings of a couple of people. Dugan's accused of facilitating the escape of the accused and his lawyer when federal agents showed up. A 30-year-old suspect is under arrest in connection with a deadly weekend attack in Vancouver. 11 people were killed when a driver rammed his vehicle into a crowd at a street festival. It is Election Day north of the border. Canadians going to the polls today. They're deciding whether to keep the Liberals in power or put the Conservatives in the driver's seat. On Wall Street this morning, stock futures have been trading lower ahead of the opening bell. The Dow futures are down 26 points. Nasdaq futures off 22. More details at srnnews.com.
Progressive knows when you're on your boat, you're already on vacation. And Vacation You forgets all your worries. Vacation You doesn't even keep track of time and knows that time is a meaningless construct designed to control us, man. But Regular You knows you don't want to be too far out in the water after the sun goes down because Vacation You doesn't know how to navigate in the dark yet. Vacation You and Regular You really need to get on the same page. So bundle your boat with your home or auto policy and earn an automatic discount from Progressive. And spend the savings on the both of you. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company affiliates and other insurers. Not available in all states or situations.
You want to give your dogs the very best. No matter what they're eating, you should add Dr. Fido's to every bite. Don't just take our word for it.
The Dr. Fido's product has been very successful for both dogs.
Call 888-388-PAWS or go to drfidos.com, drphytos.com. And for a limited time, order now and receive a 10% discount with our money-back guarantee by using promo code BALANCE.
Here is the latest news and information that impacts you. I'm Derek White. The Kansas Supreme Court will hold a special session tomorrow at the Life Center in Logan. Doors will open at 8:15 a.m. with a presentation at 9:30 a.m. by Chief Justice Marla Lukert. At 10, the court will hear oral arguments in a case involving Stanton Holt, who was convicted in 1994 of 2 murders and multiple burglaries. Holt is appealing the denial of his request for post-conviction DNA testing. Area students and the public are invited to attend this unique civic event. 3 Hutchison residents face federal charges in connection with 2 overdose deaths last summer. Brandy Long, Michael Long, and Christopher Richards are accused of distributing controlled substances that led to the deaths of Paul Miller and Ashley Hochschild. Charges include racketeering, drug distribution, and conspiracy. All 3 remain in custody at the Reno County Jail, while the victims died just days apart back in July 2024. To find out more of what's happening in your area, visit nwksradio.net.
Rocket 102.5.
Today, cooler air has moved in behind an overnight cold front, turning winds to the west-northwest direction, and they'll be increasing 15 to 25 miles per hour this afternoon. Skies will be sunny with highs in the lower 70s. Red flag warnings are in place in Cheyenne County in Colorado, Wallace and Logan in Kansas, and all counties to the south. Tomorrow, high pressure from the northwest will keep cooler 60 to 65 degree and drier air over the area with north winds turning to the southeast at 10 to 15 miles per hour. Skies will be partly cloudy with lows in the upper 30s tonight and around 45 tomorrow night. Wednesday and Thursday, energy in a northwesterly flow and a cool front bring some scattered shower and storm chances with highs in the mid-60s to low 70s and lows 40 to 45. Friday and over most of the weekend, an upper ridge of high pressure will set in with highs in the 70 to 75 degree range. This meteorologist Chris Romick in the NWKS Radio Weather Center.
Kansas Farm and Ranch Radio is the place to turn to weekdays for the latest agriculture news and markets. Being a member of the National Association of Farm Broadcasters, we take pride in making sure you're informed of the latest news from the world of agriculture. Whether it's local, state, regional, or national, if it affects your farm or ranch, you can count on hearing it here. Daily reports from Kansas Farm and Ranch Radio are made possible by Farmers State Bank, Norder Supply of Scott City, Cornerstone Ag, and Woofter Construction and Irrigation.
At FNB Bank, we understand the backbone of our community is our local farmers and ranchers. Whether you're growing crops, raising livestock, or investing in new equipment, we're here to help you succeed. Our agricultural loans are tailored to meet the unique needs of your farm with flexible terms from people who understand what it takes to make it in agriculture. When you partner with FNB Bank, you're working with neighbors who know the land and are invested in your success. FNB Bank, rooted in our community, growing with you. Member FDIC.
Get ready for powerful deals at Hurl Chevrolet GMC in Goodland, Kansas. Right now, drive home a 25 GMC Sierra 1500 Turbo Max with 0.9% financing or up to $7,800 in purchase allowance. Step up in luxury in a 2025 Sierra 1500 Denali and get up to $5,250 in purchase allowance. Or take on any job with the 25 Sierra 2500 with 3.9% APR or up to $2,700 in purchase allowance. These offers won't last. Rush into Hurl Chevrolet GMC in Goodland today or shop online at hurlchev.com.
Spring is in full swing at Hoover Lumber Ace Hardware. Get your lawn and garden looking their best with Ultimate Fertilizer and gear up with Eco blowers and mowers for the season ahead. Tackling a project, they've got a surplus of quality lumber ready for all your building needs. And when the work's done, fire up the fun with their wide selection of grills, smokers, and griddles from Traeger, Weber, and Blackstone. Stop by Hoover Lumber Ace Hardware in Goodland and Colby, your one-stop shop for spring projects, big and small.
Roof's worn out and it needs replaced. Who you gonna call?
Roof Masters!
Roof Masters Roofing at Colby has been your premier roofing contractor for over 40 years, offering free estimates on all types of roofs, as well as seamless rain gutters and vinyl siding. So give us a call today. What's that number, Jake?
462-6642. I think you better call
Roof Masters!
Looking for insurance that actually puts you first? At the insurance agency in downtown Goodland, we're independent, which means we work for you. Whether it's auto, home, crop, or business, we shop top carriers to get you the best coverage at the best price. No pushy sales, just honest advice from people who live right here in your community. Give us a call today at 785-899-5011 or stop by 1020 Main in Goodland, and let's get you covered. The Insurance Agency. Insurance the way it should be.
Where is the best place to go to stream your favorite NWKS radio station? NWKSradio.net. Where should you go to find out what's happening in the area? NWKSradio.net. What's happening with local area sports? NWKSradio.net. Is the weather causing delays or cancellations? NWKSradio.net. Need tickets to the next big NWKS radio event? NWKSradio.net. The place to go to be in the know. NWKSradio.net.
If you're shopping for a banking institution, visit with Equity Bank of Hoxie, Grinnell, and Quinter, Kansas. The Equity Bank is heavily invested in local business and activities contributing in many ways back to their community. Their employees are involved with many organizations and area events. Plus, a lot of experience comes with that staff. You'll find valuable local assistance when you bank at the Equity Bank of Hoxie, Grinnell, Quinter, and other locations in Western Kansas. The Equity Bank, member FDIC.
It's hard to believe, but it's been almost 100 years since McClure's Plumbing and Heating began serving the area.
McClure's Plumbing and Heating.
When McClure's opened its doors in 1930, Mickey Mouse and Superman were in their first year of existence. Now, over 3 generations later, like those icons, McClure's is still here and continues to provide service for all of your heating, cooling, and plumbing needs. Call McClure's Plumbing and Heating in Goodland today at 899-6229. That's 899-6229.
McClure's Plumbing and Heating.
You ready? Ready? 1, 2, 3, 4!
It's the Morning Blitz with Ross Volkmer.
If you want to win in football, it all starts up front. Mass kicks ass.
The region's only local sports talk.
Listen to this guy. He knows what he's talking about.
Broadcasting on Goodland's Rocket 102.5. Simulcasting on Goodland's 730 Gold KLOE.
Guys everywhere.
Discussing it all from the preps.
Showtime for the Lady Eagles.
To the pros.
McKinnon is in at running back. First down and goal to go. Play action fake. Right side throw. Touchdown. Kansas City.
The Blitz is presented by Pearl Chevrolet GMC, Hoover Lumber Ace Hardware, and FNB Bank, as well as the Insurance Agency, Farmer State Bank in Oakley, the Cowboy Corner Express, and Equity Bank of Hoxie, Quinter, and Grinnell.
Let's go to work.
Pitch to the right-handed batter, and strike 3 called. What a job by Lugo and Ursig. End result, a shutout, 2-0 final.
Brock Nelson trying to make it not matter. Nelson, the need for speed. Landeskog! Yes! Oh, Captain! My Captain! Gabe Landeskog! The North God of hockey has made it 3-0 Colorado!
Taps this one to third.
And he throws it down the right field line. Robinson's on the move.
And he is going to stop. No, now he's going to go to third. Here's the throw. It gets by him. Here comes Ramos. This game is over.
And with that, good Monday morning, everybody. Off and rolling on April the 28th of 2025. Glad you're with us here on this Monday morning. A beautiful start to the week. Sunny and 52, a nice, crisp, cool 52. On our way to a high of 74 here on this Monday. So glad you're with us here on the Morning Blitz. Hope you had yourself a great weekend. Had some decent weather this past weekend, so I hope you were productive or got done whatever you wanted to get done, or maybe you just had a nice relaxing weekend, or maybe just got to go out and enjoy the beautiful weather that we had this previous couple of days. So anyway, glad that you are with us, and hope you once again you had a great weekend. I personally had a great weekend. Shout out to my wife who took me to Colorado Springs for the weekend. Had some fun there, hanging out with her and doing some fun things around there for my birthday weekend. So thank you to my wonderful wife. And yes, it was a great weekend for yours truly. But we got a full show to get into here on a Monday. Nick Athen is going to join us, our good friend from Chiefs Blitz, to look back at what was the 2025 NFL Draft. We'll get his thoughts on all the storylines around that. And we got plenty of things to get into as well. We'll dive into some local sports in the leftovers a little bit. And we got plenty of things to get into, some Royals and Rockies baseball as well. So plenty of things to get into here on this Monday morning. As always, the F&B Bank text line is open and operational at 785-899-2222. If you'd like to be part of the Morning Blitz, love to hear your thoughts and everything on whatever it was. Maybe it's the winners and losers of the weekend, which we'll get rolling with, well, right now.
There are two kinds of people in this world.
There's winners and there's losers.
Which ones were which this past weekend?
I want winners.
Loser? You're a loser.
It's the weekend's winners and losers on the Morning Blitz.
Want to be a winner, be a winner.
All right, here we go. Weekend winners on the Morning Blitz. I mean, besides myself for marrying my lovely wife, who once again treated me to a great birthday weekend. I mean, there's plenty of other great winners of the weekend. Thank you, by the way, to Michael, listener Michael, for the birthday wishes. Appreciate that here on this Monday morning. Plenty of weekend winners. I don't have a ton of winners this weekend. I didn't feel like anything was just completely I don't know, for me, obvious. Now, I do admit, when I have these kind of weekends where I'm away and, I'm kind of trying to relax, I don't always have the biggest and best focus. So I'm usually doing like a cram session like the night before to get prepared for the show. So I don't have a ton of winners, but I do have a couple of winners on the very much on the local side of things. And I thought it was a really good weekend for former, and I'm not trying to play the homer card here in no way, shape, or form. I just noticed that these two kids had great weekends. For two former Goodland High School athletes, they are winners of the weekend. Former Goodland Cowgirl Lindsey Cure and former Goodland Cowboy Cole Linton. Salute to those two who are doing their thing, now in college, and were great high school athletes themselves, being 2 to 3 sport athletes depending on what time of their career they were in. Did play a lot of different sports and were phenomenal athletes. And now they're off doing it at the next level. Lindsey Cure is competing at Regis College over in Denver, and Cole Linton, of course, is competing over at Cloud County. And we'll start with Lindsey Cure, who, by the way, we talked about her, was it last week or maybe 10 days ago or so, talking about her and what she has done here recently. Lindsey went to Regis to go be in the volleyball program there, which is a powerhouse program of the Division II ranks. She went there. But this is also, I think, either the first or second year of the Regis track program. Like, they've really started to get athletics going. It's not a very traditioned athletics program there at Regis. So Lindsey Cure decided to dual sport this year and be a javelin thrower. And so for those who haven't followed, she has continued. She, of course, was the 3A state record holder for the javelin in the state of Kansas. Did it at the state tournament where you're supposed to get it done, and she did, the state track meet. And Lindsey goes off to Regis, plays volleyball, has some success there, but has decided to dual sport this year after not doing it last year. And she goes out for Regis, and in her first year competing with pretty much, I don't know this for a fact, but I don't think there's a ton of coaching. I think it's kind of self-taught and self-remembered for Lindsay Cure. She's out there, and she took first at the RMAC. She won the conference outdoor track meet in the javelin here this past weekend. And through it, I think her state record is like 151 and some change. She threw at 152 and some change out there in Colorado. Now, once again, elevation, thinner air, maybe help with that a little bit. Nonetheless, she's had a phenomenal showing there in just her first year of returning to the field to do track and field. Has been the RMAC leader and has won a couple of meets already. She's been a RMAC athlete, track and field athlete of the week already. She's just had a phenomenal showing already in track and field, and she continues to roll over there in Regis. So really, really cool to see that she is really, really cool to see that she's over there succeeding and having a really good showing there. And really intrigued to see, once again, that's really doesn't have a whole lot of coaching. That track program is kind of just getting off the ground. It'd be interesting to see what happens next for Lindsay Cure, but had a great weekend this weekend. Once again, your RMAC champion in the javelin, threw it over 152 feet, which was really, really cool to see. Also, of course, Goodland's Cole Linton, who we talked about last week, because Colby Community College baseball was going to be playing Cloud this weekend in baseball. And Cole was slated to play slated to pitch in game 4 of that series, which he did. And that game ended up being a 1-0 victory for Cloud this past weekend in what was a split between the Trojans and Cloud on Saturday. Trojans took game 1 14-10, but then 1-0. Cloud gets the win in game 2 behind Cole Linton's complete game 4 hitter, which he only, he struck out, 4 or 5 in that game. He was great. He was great. And so to go, and once again, that's shutting down a lineup there in Colby that has proven to put up runs. I mean, we've seen plenty of 20-run games and 10-run games and all that stuff from Colby. So to go out there and have a shutout, a 4-hit or 5-hit shutout for Cole Linton in a complete game performance, pretty impressive. And so a couple of former Goodland High School athletes, winners of the weekend from this past weekend. Lindsay Cure over at Regis, once again winning the RMAC in the javelin, and Cole Linton once again with a phenomenal performance on the mound against Colby Community College in his weekend start there for the T-Birds of Cloud County. And probably even more importantly, knowing those kids a little bit as I do, they're both phenomenal human beings on top of being just fantastic athletes that they were, but also phenomenal. Even more important, they are fantastic human beings. So congratulations to Lindsay Cure and Cole Linton on great weekends this previous weekend. Both of them are my winners of the weekend here on this Monday. Once again, if you want to throw in your weekend winners and losers, always welcome to do so at 785-899-2222 is the number part of the Morning Blitz each and every day. Like I said, I don't have a lot of winners this weekend. I just didn't find anything I thought was worthy of winners, I guess, is the way I would mean. You could throw the Royals in there. They took 2 of 3 from Houston, I suppose, if you wanted to throw the Royals in there. Like I said, they have really turned a corner here since sweeping the Rockies and now taking 2 out of 3 from the Astros. So, they had, before the loss of the Astros on Sunday, 7-3 yesterday, the Royals had gone out there and had won what was a consecutive 6 in a row, sweeping the Rockies, beating the Tigers in the series finale, and also taking 2 out of 3 from the Astros. And boy, if you want to, how about a shout out to really Kansas City pitching over the weekend? I mean, they won the 2 games against the Astros on Friday and then again on Saturday by a score of 2-0. So Kansas City pitching could pretty much be a winner of the weekend, how well they have done in keeping opposing offenses pretty much at 1 or none, because the offense for the Royals at times has really struggled, including just scoring 4 runs. And honestly, you could throw it all together, 7 combined runs scored by the Royals against the Astros this past weekend, and still what was a series victory. So I guess you can throw the winner of the weekend there into with the Royals as well. Thank you, David. Good point. David Arnberger chiming in, talking about Gino Suarez from the Arizona Diamondbacks had 4 home runs in a game against the Braves. Thank you, David, for that. Here's the thing, David. That to me, as you know, I'm a Diamondback fan and I love my D-backs, but this was a really sour weekend for Arizona. They lost 2 out of 3 to the Braves. And in all 3 of the games, Arizona led by at one point in time 3 runs or more, I believe, in all 3 of those games. Lost the first 2 games of that series, either in extra innings or in the 9th. So the bullpen completely blew it. And that was in one of those games with the Suarez 4 home runs for the D-backs. You're exactly right. That was nuts. 4 at-bats, 4 homers. Nuts. Not the first time it's ever been done, but still pretty darn cool. I would agree on that. Thank you, David. Great point there on weekend winners and losers. That is why the text line is there, to remind people like me who sometimes forget about some cool things over the weekend. That's a great point. Gino Suarez with 4 home runs to the Diamondbacks in a single game, winner of the weekend. Thank you, David. That's a phenomenal one there on the FB Bank text line. Continuing here on weekend winners and losers on this Monday. I got to shift over to losers because I got plenty of things to get to with that. And if you don't know where we're going, you know where we're going now. And that would first be weekend losers. And the first would be Shedeur Sanders, quarterback for Colorado. This was the storyline from Thursday until Saturday, around noon time, maybe a little bit afternoon of Saturday. This is the storyline. A guy who was considered a top 20 pick, according to draft experts, was selected in the 5th round by the Cleveland Browns. A guy who was predicted to go in the 1st round, maybe even in the first 5 picks, didn't go until the 5th round. That is an amazing, amazing thing to think about when you look back at it. A guy that was predicted to be a top 20 selection doesn't go all the way until the 5th round when Cleveland decided to take him with the last pick that they had of their draft picks of this year, because they didn't have a pick in the 6th and the 7th. They decided to take Shedeur Sanders. It is just an amazing fall. I don't even want to say it's a fall from grace, but it's just an unbelievable showing. And people around the media world are trying to figure out, why did he fall? This doesn't make any sense. He's probably the most pure passer of the football in the draft and all this other stuff. And people tell, well, his dad is prime, and that could lead to a lot of headaches. I get all that. I totally get all that. And I'm sure, all those things were considered when he was not drafted through the first 4 rounds and not until the 5th. Here's the thing, though. I think the thing about Shedeur is that from what I have read here from other reporters, is that he did not do great in the meetings. I heard that he went into the meetings acting like his you-know-what didn't stink and was not really interested in the meetings with the coaches my guess is, of all these coaches, he probably acted that way in meetings with the teams that he probably didn't want to go to, because there were moments, there's rumors that he didn't want to go to Cleveland, or who knows. He probably acted that way in some of those meetings. Guess what? That stuff gets out of those meetings and other people talk to each other. And all of a sudden people are like, you know what? I don't want to deal with that in my locker room. And look, you look around, you just watch Shedeur. I admit he has done some really good things. He has set bunches of records. He has won some games, not a lot. He never won a bowl game. You can throw him under the bus, but he has a lot of bravado for a guy who has barely a winning record in college. A lot of bravado. And I don't know how well that's going to play with other teammates. I'm sure that was a thought a lot of GMs and executives in the NFL. How is he going to fit in? All that stuff. So falling all the way to the 5th round, no doubt Shedeur Sanders is a loser of the weekend. But I will say this. It is a great value if he can get it together and he does play very, very well like people think he could. It's a phenomenal value for the Browns. Wouldn't that be unbelievable? The Browns, who, by the way, took a quarterback prior to him and Dylan Gabriel, the Oregon/Oklahoma/Central Florida quarterback. Then they took him, I think, a couple rounds prior, I think in the 3rd round. But I love how the Browns says, really wasn't planned to take 2 quarterbacks, but we thought, oh, why not? They weren't even planning on it. No one else wanted him, but maybe Cleveland, and they weren't even thinking about it. That's just nuts to me. But anyway, my point being is that it's an unbelievable value for the Browns because they don't have to throw much money into that. And if it works out, it could be a grand slam. For a franchise that has gone through 20-plus odd quarterbacks over the course of the last, since 2000? They've gone through how many quarterbacks? And to possibly have Shedeur Sanders come in there, and maybe he's going to be the quarterback he'll be. I don't know what to expect out of Shedeur. I really don't. I don't know what to expect. Because I believe that we're going to see I don't even know. I don't even know what to expect. I don't know. I could see him going there and having great success and being a good quarterback. I could see him going there and being a complete bust just because, he always had his dad by his side to help him. He was a winner. I get that, but he didn't win like a ton of games. He is a great thrower of the football. You cannot despise that. He can really throw the football, and that may be the thing that puts him over the top. There's something you cannot dispute that his ability to throw the football. He's really good. So, nonetheless, Shedeur Sanders lose the weekend. Also, kind of in the same boat on a loser of the weekend, Quinn Ewers, quarterback for Texas. There is a phenomenal stat out there when it comes regarding Quinn Ewers, and I think I took the picture of this. I'll make sure. Well, I'll see if I can find that. I have it bookmarked somewhere in my pages here. I was going to say, but Quinn Ewers, a loser of the weekend, the quarterback from Texas, who, by the way, was like a top, what was it? Probably he was a top 5 recruit out of high school. Went to Ohio State, didn't have any success. Went to Texas and, had great success, leading the Longhorns to the college football playoff. But here we go. Back in January of this year, Quinn Ewers turned down an $8 million NIL transfer offer. So he had a chance to transfer away from Texas and go somewhere else for $8 million. Instead, he decided to enter the NFL draft. Ewers was selected in the 7th round and will sign a deal worth somewhere of $800,000. And so Quinn Ewers left roughly $7 million on the table by not playing another year of college football. And this is going to be a talking point for years to come. This will be a talking point because there's going to be chances for guys in college to make more money by sticking around and playing more time. Now, this also means transferring to multiple different programs to get the money, but it's the truth. But they could stay in college and make more money than they will in their first few years of the pros. And I think we're certainly going to see that with quarterbacks in the future. You're going to see, and you're kind of already starting to see it a little bit, but guys that maybe could get drafted pretty high or think they might get drafted or be like, I'm going to stick around. I'm going to make $8 million. Can you imagine Quinn Ewers going from living on $8 million a year down to $800,000? That is a big difference. Obviously, a massive difference. Your lifestyle just changed a whole lot. And this is the reason why I don't exactly love NIL and paying college athletes, because you go from possibly being in the king in the penthouse to having all this stuff. It's gone. Now you got to go out in the real world and you got to figure things out. That's not easy to do. When you had this and then you got to go back down, that's a very difficult thing to do instead of just gradually building your way up. That's a hard thing to figure out. So Quinn Ewers, also a loser of the weekend, could have been, stuck around in college, maybe got another $8 million. Instead, he's making $800K probably after getting drafted in the 7th round of the NFL draft. And then finally, one more quick loser of the weekend, the Colorado Rockies. Swept by the Reds at home. Friday night was an awful night for baseball. We were out there in Colorado. It was wet, spitting. The Reds scored runs, it seemed like, at ease all weekend against the Rockies. Saturday and Sunday, much better weather days, obviously, but it did not really matter as the Rockies are beaten by the Reds in 3 consecutive games. It was 8-7 on Friday, 6-4 on Saturday, and then they could not find the ball with the barrel on Sunday. 8-1, they lose to the Cincinnati Reds. The Rockies now 4-23 on this season. That is the worst start in franchise history. It just continues to be a really, really horrific year for the Colorado Rockies. Everybody knew it was going to be bad, and I know we've said this before. Everybody knew it was going to be bad. Didn't think it would be as bad as it's been, particularly offensively. Boy, offense has been hard to come by. 3 hits in yesterday's 8-1 loss. So very, very rough year for the Colorado Rockies, losers of the weekend. All right, right at the bottom of the hour, before we get to the break, a couple of quick messages here on the FB Bank text line. Thank you, Jared, for the birthday wishes. Really do appreciate that. Yeah, talk about the Browns. Now they have a quarterback room with 5 quarterbacks. It's true. I mean, and only probably 3 are going to make it, and one's will be the practice squad guy. So we'll see. We'll see how well he likes to compete, because let's face it, I mean, I doubt Shedeur Sanders has really had to compete for a quarterback job most of his life. I would doubt it. I would say he's probably been handed that job because his dad was with him in high school. His dad with him to Jackson State. His dad was at Colorado. I doubt he's ever really had to compete for a job. And with 5 other guys, including a couple other pros, including Joe Flacco in that roster, yeah, that'll be tough. By the way, one of those 5, Deshaun Watson is out for the year with an Achilles injury. So it's kind of down to 4. Nonetheless, he'll have to compete for that job. All right, 7:31 Mountain, 8:31 in the Central Time Zone on a Monday. Glad you're with us here on the Morning Blitz. Keep those texts chiming in at 785-899-2222, the F&B Bank text line. We'll take our first time out. When we come back, Nick Athens is going to join the program. We will talk about the NFL draft and his thoughts on it from the Chiefs' perspective and from the league as a whole. You're listening to a Monday edition of the Morning Blitz.
Happy Community Bank Month from all of us at Farmers State Bank of Oakley. We're proud to be your local bank, rooted and invested in our community since 1907. Thank you to our customers for your continued trust and loyalty. And if you're looking for a more local and genuine banking experience, come visit with us. We're ready to help. Farmers State Bank of Oakley, member FDIC.
It's time for a check of the markets with the Anderson Trade Group on the Kansas Farm and Ranch Radio Network.
Good morning. This is Kate Thompson with the Anderson Trade Group. Today is Monday, April 28th. On the overnight last night, May corn lower 6 cents at 472 3/4. July down 6 at 479 1/2. September down 6 at 439 3/4. December corn down 6 cents at 449 3/4. May soybeans down 5 3/4 on the overnight at 1044. July down 5 1/2 at 1053 3/4. August down 5 1/2 at 1047 1/2. September beans down 5 3/4 at 1026 3/4. Chicago wheat, the May contract lower 11 1/4 at 518 3/4. July down 10 3/4 at 534 1/4. September down 10 1/4 at 549 1/4. December soft wheat down 9 1/2 at 572 3/4. Kansas City wheat, the May contract lower 9 1/2 on the overnight at 528 1/2. July down 8 3/4 at 542 1/4. September down 9 cents at 557 1/4. December hard wheat down 8 3/4 at 581. On the stock market this morning, the Dow up $36 at 40,290. The S&P up $2 at 5,552. The Nasdaq up 5 at 19,540. Gold higher at $10 an ounce at 3,308. Crude oil down 3 cents a barrel at 62.99. If you have any questions about marketing grain or would like to talk about risk management options, give our Colorado office a call. John Hankey or John Stiles at 970-744-4484, or in our Kansas City office, myself, Tom Pluto, Jared Ball, Tyler Ghosh at 913-748-3000.
The Anderson Trade Group, proud market partners with Kansas Farm and Ranch Radio. Find out more at andersongrain.com. The risk of loss through trading futures and or options is substantial, and each investor and or trader must consider whether this is a suitable investment. Past performance, whether actual or indicated, is not indicative of future results. The Anderson Trade Group has no guarantee that the advice given will result in profitable trades.
Farmer Amaranth. 4 counts of yield theft, resistance to groups 2, 4, 9.
You ain't got nothing on me, man.
We've been surveilling you. And now we've got Tough 5EC, a tank mix partner that'll make sure you and your gang of resistant weeds never see the daylight again.
Crack down on repeat offenders. Add Tough 5EC to your post-emergence tank mix. Learn more at toughnweeds.com. Always read and follow label directions. Tough is a registered trademark of Belgium Crop Protection.
Farmers and ranchers, are you looking to sell your equipment at auction for 0 fees and 0 commissions? Well, then you need to check out Hayden Outdoors' new online equipment auction platform. You can list your equipment in our monthly online auctions using our easy-to-use platform, and you don't pay any fees or commissions. Visit HaydenOutdoors.com to learn more. That's HaydenOutdoors.com.
Get wireless on your terms with NextTech Wireless. Choose from 18, 24, or 36-month agreements. With all the latest devices and a reliable network built for Kansans by Kansans, experience our service when and where you need it most. Plus, you'll receive a $100 Visa gift card on all new lines. Visit a location near you today. Next Tech Wireless, connecting Kansans.
No one rambles on better than Ross Volkmer.
All you do is talk on
the Morning Blitz.
We'll get to plenty more leftovers and local sports coming up in segment 3. As always, FB Bank text line open at 785-899-2222. Michael chiming in with his winner of the weekend. He talks about, of course, his Broncos. Solid draft picks. Can't believe that Barron fell that far, according to Michael. And also Mike with a birthday wish. Let's see here. Were you at that ice party? I don't believe so, Mike. I was not there. I was not there. No, I was not at that party, unfortunately. But thank you for the birthday wish, Mike. I really do appreciate it. All right, let's get to our guest of the day. He's our good friend from Chiefs Blitz. He joins us now on the Hurl Chevrolet GMC video stream. That's our good friend Nick. Morning, Nick. How are we doing today, buddy?
Good, Ross. How about yourself?
I am doing well, my friend.
Excellent.
Doing well.
Good to hear.
Doing well.
Survived the weekend.
Have you recovered from the draft and all that? Recovered from it all?
Yeah, yesterday was pretty rough. So we went bell to bell. So we were live for every pick of the entire draft on Thursday, Friday, and Saturday at Chiefs Blitz for the Four Guys in the Bar podcast. And it was a lot of fun. I mean, I think the Chiefs were very active. They kept us on our toes. And up until the 7th round, they just kept making deals. And it was a fun weekend. This is one of my favorite weekends of the year just because it's so unpredictable. You don't know what's going to happen. And we had obviously a lot of drama in the NFL draft this year.
Yeah, no doubt about it. A lot of drama, particularly with their Sanders, obviously. Let's start with the Chiefs though. First, we'll get that. We'll kind of get that out of the way first and foremost. I know overall when you look at this draft board and what they did they fill the needs they needed to? Do you feel like they got the right guys? Were there some guys that they didn't go after you thought maybe they should have?
I have to be honest with you. I think they had a nearly flawless draft in the aspect of filling everything they needed to take care of. Maybe backup tight end, but they do have Jared Wiley coming back from injury. So, and they did sign an undrafted free agent from Clemson, who's really, really good. Obviously it all started with Josh Simmons. The way that this whole thing materialized, what we learned on Thursday was the Chiefs were really the only team that were really pursuing him as a first round pick. I mean, he said, multiple Zoom meetings, in-person meetings. Both of them wanted to make sure that they found a way to get them to, have a relationship and get him in Kansas City. And I thought what was interesting about this, and I don't know if enough people talk about it, maybe it'll be an ESPN 30 for 30 one day, is that, you started to hear stuff maybe on Monday that Simmons was his injury was going to prevent him from coming in playing in October, November, maybe the season at all. And then there were some complication rumors that came out. And of course, the Chiefs and Simmons both poo-pooed all that and said, no, I'm going to go. I'm going to be ready for training camp. So, who put that news out? Who put that circulation out? But I thought it was interesting that the other 31 teams didn't spend as much time on Simmons because arguably he's the best left tackle in this draft. And if he is healthy, and all indications are he's going to be, close to the player he was at Ohio State, the Chiefs got a steal, and they have their left tackle for the next 5 to 10 years.
Nick Athan, our guest from Chiefs Blitz, talking the NFL draft. Who was the sleeper of this draft, you thought?
For the Chiefs, it's Brashard Smith, running back from SMU. I just love this kid. 3 years as a receiver at Miami, didn't really do a whole lot. Goes to SMU and has almost 2,000 all-purpose yards. We were screaming from the 4th round on, this is the guy. My Devin Neal hope died pretty, it wasn't meant to be. But with Smith, I think you look at Smith, he can catch the ball. Obviously, he's got experience. He's got a little Tyreek Hill in him from the sense that he knows how to run routes as a receiver. But now he's in the backfield, and look what he did with SMU. He carried them into the playoffs. And he's just a special player. The fact that he was there in round 7, is a huge shocker. Same with Jalen Royals, the wide receiver from Utah State. Again, I had him as a second-round guy. I would have been happy if the Chiefs took him in the end of the second round. I would have been ecstatic. The fact that he was there at the end of the fourth round. And, I think those two guys offensively, the three offensive guys they took, I think are all potential impact guys that are going to fit. And defensively, Noah Williams, I think, was the best stand-up corner. I love Omar Newman-Lott. He's got a motor. Ashton Gillette reminds me a little bit of Jared Allen. So if you just look at how this draft unfolded for the Chiefs, but to me, the most exciting one, I can't wait to get on the field, is Smith. I just can't wait to watch him. He's the next level running back that's going to be, he's not Jamal Charles, okay? We all saw what Jamal Charles did with Andy Reid, but he's pretty close, and he can make plays.
And you got him in the 7th round, too. I mean, there's a value for you, right? That's a really impressive value.
Yeah, very impressive.
Nick Athen is our guest here on the Morning Blitz, talking the NFL draft. Well, with Kansas City out of the way, I mean, we all know that Shedeur Sanders was probably the biggest story. What were some other big stories that you saw as well throughout the draft?
I think the biggest story, if you're a purist of the AFC West, is I thought the Chargers, Raiders, and Broncos all had a really good weekend. I was surprised. Pete Carroll comes into Las Vegas. There's a lot of talk they were going to take Shedeur Sanders, and it just didn't work out. I'm assuming Tom Brady didn't want him, because that's the only reason I can think of that he didn't make it there. But I'm going to use my cheat sheet here. Look at the Raiders. Ashton Genty, I love. Boise State running back. Jack Beck, wide receiver, TCU. One of the best cornerbacks in Darian Porter. And, Cody Lindenberg, the linebacker from Minnesota they took late, is really good. I really like what they did. The Chargers, Amarian Hampton, my favorite running back in this class. Trey Harris is one of the best wide receivers. They got him in the 2nd round from Ole Miss. And, I really like Kyle Kennard, the edge from South Carolina. And then the Broncos, I kind of bashed them a little bit, and I'm kind of having some fun. But I thought they had a terrific draft. I mean, Jedi Barron is the best slot cornerback in this draft. R.J. Harvey, I think it was a reach in the 2nd round, to be honest with you. But I'm okay with the fact that they took him there, because he wasn't going to be available, when they picked later in the draft. Savion Jones, the edge from LSU, I absolutely love. And a sleeper is going to be Caleb Lohner, the tight end from Utah. Just very good picks. And the fact that the AFC West kind of all had really good drafts, I think the Chiefs will probably grade out the highest, and I think most people agree with that. But I think everybody hit the areas of needs, and it's kind of refreshing to see the AFC West draft players not to beat their opponents, but for them to build a roster that they have to be beat. And I thought that was a constant theme. And I think that's been one of the reasons why the Chiefs have been so dominant. So I think all 4 teams got better. I think all 4 teams got better in free agency. The proof's going to be in the pudding once they put the pads on to see what these kids do. But I was surprised, from the AFC West. I think nationally you have to look at what the Eagles did. I mean, they just fell into a lot of players. The Buffalo Bills, I think they had 9 or 10 picks, and I think 7 defensive players, because their defense was woeful. So this was one of the best drafts we've had in a really long time. There was depth all the way into the 7th round. There was no, oh my God, this guy went too early, or this guy went. There was a lot of things that guys went maybe too late. The fact Kobe Bryant wasn't drafted is just mind blowing to me. But I think overall, when you look at the talent of this draft, once you got past the top 5 picks, maybe 6, then, it's beauty in the eye of the beholder. And whether you take a guy early or late doesn't matter, as long as you get your guy. And I think that was a very common theme this weekend.
You bring up such a great point about, like the Hawk Mamba and Kobe Bryant, about how, that probably should have been a guy that was taken, but was not. Mm-hmm. And there's lots of guys like that. I mean, it really is truly beauty in the eye of the beholder when it comes to finding these spots. Nick Anthony, our guest here from Chiefs Blitz. Yeah, I want to go back to the AFC West. You made up such a great point about how they had such good drafts. I mean, over the last, let's just go 3 years.
Mhm.
Over the last 3 years, I mean, the AFC West has been a decent division. Has it become the best division in football based upon coaches, roster acquisition, draft? Has it become the best division here over the last 3 years? I feel like it kind of has really made a massive leap.
I don't think there's any question from the head coaching perspective. This is the best in the NFL. It might be the best we've seen in any division in NFL history. You're talking about guys who have Super Bowl winners, or they have national champions. You know how I feel about Jim Harbaugh. I love this guy. I would run through the wall for him. I would play for this guy. I love his swagger. I love the way he coaches. He's put all of it on Justin Herbert. It's Justin Herbert or bust. You know, Sean Payton, I think, had a rough start with Russell Wilson. He's come around. Pete Carroll is Pete Carroll. He's 74 years old. We'll see what he can do, but he's going to at least stabilize the franchise. And of course, you got the 3-time Super Bowl winner in Andy Reid. So I think from a coaching perspective, it's the best. I think from the on the field, still need to see a little bit more. I still need to see Justin Herbert evolve into that great quarterback that can win in January, potentially in February. I think the Raiders quarterback situation is a little blah right now. I'm not a fan of the moves they've made there. The Broncos, listen, if Bo Nix avoids the sophomore slump, I said this on your show, and I'm going to say it all off season. The Broncos defense and the Broncos attitude right now is top shelf. The Broncos have the best defense of the division. I'm going to say it out loud, and I'm going to say it all season long, and we're going to see it. Their draft was like I said, was really solid. They had great free agency moves. They get it. They now get it. It's taken them a couple years, but this is the best. I think it has the potential to be the best overall division for a lot of reasons. But you still have Patrick Mahomes. You still have Travis Kelce for one more year. So I think the Chiefs are still the creme de la creme of the division. But I think maybe you have to go NFC East is maybe, the kind of if Dallas plays better, there's a possibility that could be a little bit more competitive between the Eagles and the I want to say Redskins and the Commanders. That's pretty good. I think the AFC East has a chance to be really good this year. I really do. I think the Patriots had a terrific draft. I love Mike Vrabel as a coach. He's going to instill, a lot of good things for that team. They're going to be able to compete with Buffalo. Maybe not this year, but next year. We don't know what the Dolphins are going to be, but there's such a fine. We saw it all last year. There's such a fine line between good teams and bad teams, and anything can happen on any given Sunday. But I think to answer your question in a long-winded manner, the AFC West is back to kind of what it used to be. There's no easy games ever, even when the team sucked. And I think the elevation of play this year and the competition level is going to be up several notches from what we've seen over the last 5-6 years.
Once again, Nick Athen is our guest here on the Morning Blitz, talking the NFL draft. A couple of guys that we follow a lot on this show, of course, Devin Neal and DJ Giddens. Giddens goes to the Colts and Neal goes to the Saints. What are your thoughts on the two area running backs and where they landed?
I think both found good homes. I think Giddens is in the right place. He's going to have a lot of opportunity. I love his game. I would have taken him or Neal in Kansas City. Neal goes to work with Alvin Kamara. Ultimately, it'll be his successor. Kamara's getting a lot of money. I think Devin Neal, I said this before, I think he has the potential to be one of the best running backs in this draft class. I'm highly disappointed he didn't go to the Chiefs, but then again, I'm not going to trade Brashard Smith. There's absolutely no way from a production standpoint. But, the local kids did all right. I was disappointed in a lot of the Kansas guys, seniors that I thought would be, Logan didn't get drafted, which was a shocker to me. I thought Dotson had a chance to get drafted. The 3 wide receivers, again, is a late 7th-round pick. So I think for the local running backs, they've done all right. And they landed in the right teams with the right opportunities. And both teams got really good value at where they picked them.
Yeah, it is amazing to once again think about it. There are so many great players that didn't get drafted. It just tells you how hard it is to get drafted in the NFL draft. If you do, it's a real feather in your cap. Who of the quarterbacks selected in this draft do you feel like will have the best career? Because this is not a great class overall, but who do you think has maybe the best career when it's all said and done?
I think it's only going to. I think Cam Ward's really the only guy, in my opinion. I watched this draft. And, after our conversation on Friday, I started, I kind of looked at last Monday, I kind of looked at these quarterbacks again, and I don't see enough. Cam Ward has all the intangibles that you want. He gets it. He understands it. I think he's going to the right team. I want to jump on the Sanders bandwagon at some point, but if this doesn't humble him, if it does humble him, he has a chance, I think, to overcome what happened to him. And there's a lot of reasons why it happened, I think, but he has a chance. I still think, as far as potential goes, and if he goes to the right place, I think he's got a chance. I'm not sure Cleveland's the right place, but I think he's got a chance. But to me, in listening to everybody over the weekend talk about all these quarterbacks, Ward seems to have the most potential and has the best path to having success, whereas the rest of them are probably going to struggle a bit.
On the Shedeur thought, how surprised were you that it went all the way down to the 5th round before he was taken?
I'm not surprised. We talked about this last week. I think the problem with him is, listen, I love his father. I love Deion Sanders as a coach. I love him as a player. But when you go out there and you say that my son's going to be drafted in the top 5 and you say it for months and it doesn't happen, listen, NFL owners, general managers, and head coaches don't want to be told what to do or how to do what they do. And I think some teams were afraid that if they took the son, they'd have to deal with the father. And I think that turned off a lot of teams. And that's no slight to Deion Sanders at all. It's just when you've got a brash personality like that and you've got an in-your-face kind of person and your son kind of has the same mentality, that's not a good fit for a lot of teams. And so was I surprised he went into third day? No. I thought it was either going to be the Browns or Raiders. There was no other teams that were seriously looking at him. And I think he did get shunned a little bit. And now it's up to him to make the most that he can out of the situation. But I'm not shocked at all. I wouldn't have been surprised if the Browns didn't pick him up in the 5th round that, he would have been an undrafted free agent. It wouldn't have shocked me at all.
He is Nick Athen of ChiefsBlitz.com. Make sure you check out their stuff. Like I said, we're still recovering from a massive weekend of being live throughout the draft. So
yeah, it was
get well rested up, my friend.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun.
Yeah, well, yeah, you bet, man. Hey, like I said, you get well rested up, and we'll have you on down the road. All right, we'll talk soon.
Sounds good. Take care.
Once again, there you go, Nick Athen. Great stuff there from him here on the Morning Blitz as we say goodbye to him. Thanks again to Nick for hopping on the program and talking the NFL draft. It was certainly a interesting draft to say the least, but hey, it's in the books, and we'll see how it all pans out. According to The Athletic, they talked about how I saw this. They were ranking the draft classes. The Patriots were number 1, according to this whole ordeal. And then let's see, the worst draft class was considered the Vikings. Now they only had 5 picks, so they didn't have a ton of picks to go with, but those were considered. The Denver Broncos, according to The Athletic, did not rank very high. They actually were 28th out of the 32 teams in the NFL. And the Chiefs kind of finished kind of in the middle of the pack, around 18th, according to The Athletic, with their draft class. So, all right, 7:55. We'll take our final break, come back, and wrap the show with some local sports and the walk-off next. This is The Blitz.
Get ready for powerful deals at Hurl Chevrolet GMC in Goodland, Kansas. Right now, drive home a 25 GMC Sierra 1500 Turbo Max with 0.9% financing or up to $7,800 in purchase allowance. Step up in luxury in a 2025 Sierra 1500 Denali and get up to $5,250 in purchase allowance. Or take on any job with the 25 Sierra 2500 with 3.9% APR or up to $2,700 in purchase allowance. These offers won't last. Rush into Hurl Chevrolet GMC in Goodland today or shop online at hurlchev.com.
At Eckland Insurance, they understand your unique needs. Whether you're a farmer protecting your farm and ranch, or you need commercial or personal insurance for your home, health, or auto, the team at Eckland Insurance has you covered. Their consultative approach ensures you get the best advice tailored to your situation. They shop around for the best insurance products, so you don't have to. Eckland Insurance, your trusted partner in comprehensive coverage. Stop by today to talk to one of their agents at 1628 Caldwell Avenue in Goodland.
At FNB Bank, we know family comes first. Whether you're opening a savings account for your kids, buying a new home, or planning for the future, we're here to help every step of the way. With personalized service and flexible options, we make banking easy for your growing family. FNB Bank, serving families, strengthening communities. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
Kickstart your day with the latest in sports.
Go Sports!
You're listening to the Morning Blitz with Ross Volkmer.
I'm a man on a mission. I'm a man on a mission.
All right, just a couple minutes left to go here on the Morning Blitz. Once again, thank you so much for listening today. Thank you for the FB Bank text line, for chiming in there, the birthday wishes as well. Thank you so much. As we wrap up the show here, I want to get to some local sports in the leftovers. Busy weekend for area golfers. Scott City Invitational Friday, and then Atwood Invitational up there on Saturday. Goodland, solid weekend. They continue their good season. Goodland finished second at the Scott City Invite on Friday. They finished 22 shots behind the host Scott City, led by Jackson Rumford, who knows his home course and played it very well. Colby came in third there in Scott City on Friday. Saturday, Goodland and Greeley County tied for the top spot at the Rawlins County Invitational. The host Buffaloes finished in third. There is some golf today. The Cimarron Golf Invite is scheduled for this afternoon, so it should be a beautiful day for that. Also Friday, Goodland softball split with Lakin. They dominated game one 11-1, then lost 5-3 in game two. Cowgirls 3-9 overall this season. Oakley Track Invitational on Friday. Hoxie girls running away with the title. They topped Oakley, who came in second place by 118 points. That was the difference between first and second. Hoxie just absolutely dominated the Oakley Track Invitational. Quinter boys edged Hoxie in a much tighter race by 6 points to win the boys title in the Oakley Track Invite on Friday. And then also on Friday was the Holcomb Track Invitational. Goodland boys finished in sixth. Colby finished in seventh. Holcomb finished first at their own invite on the boys' side. Girls, much better showings. Colby came in third. Goodland finished in fifth, all behind Garden City, who finished in first place. We talked a little bit about Colby Community College baseball. Their doubleheader split with Cloud, 14-10, a win for the Trojans, then losing 1-0 in a pitcher's duel to Cloud, led by Cole Lintons. I think it was four-hitter. It's a complete game four-hitter that he had. Colby Community College going into the final week of the regular season this week, hovering around 500, 27-23, 14-13 in the Jayhawk. They have a game today at home against McCook, 9-inning game. The last time those two teams played in Colby, it was like 29-27 was the score. I kid you not. We'll see if that happens again today. Also today, a little softball. You've got Colby Community College hosting Garden City and Fort Hays Tech Northwest going to Pratt. It is the regular season finale for both of those teams. Colby looking to build some momentum going into the postseason. Tech Tigers still looking for that first win of the year. They lost 2 games on Sunday to North Platte. They are 0-42 going into this regular season finale down at Pratt. Okay, with that, we get to the walk-off.
And back lifts his ball deep to right. How about a walk-off Brady? Thomas to the 10. Denver's going on to New England. They win it on the first play of overtime. Mahomes swings it. It's there. Hardman. Jackpot. Kansas City.
2 stops here on the walk-off. First one, back to the NFL draft and the dominance of the SEC and the Big Ten in the draft. Of the 257 total NFL draft picks, 150 of them, over half, came from the SEC and the Big Ten. The SEC had 79 players drafted. The Big Ten had 71. Those both shattered last year's league draft record of 59 set by the SEC. The thing that you have to realize, folks, you have to get used to it. It's only going to get bigger. With all the money being in the SEC and the Big Ten and being able to pay the best players, they're going to go to those leagues. They're going to have the best. They're going to have the best teams, the best players. They're going to get the most draft picks. That's how that's going to work. And a little bit of fun here to wrap up the show. So this past weekend was the pin relays up in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. And they have, I think, over, maybe 200, 300 events. I mean, it's unbelievable how big this thing is. But they actually have a race at the pin relays, the 80-year-old and older 100-meter dash. The 80-year-old and older 100-meter dash at the pin relays. Go look up this video. If I had more time, I would have got it on the video stream for you. But it's a ridiculous, great start and a great finish. The guy who won it with a time of 16.3. Over 80, the pin relays, the 100-meter dash. They were moving. There's a lot of people. Maybe even yours included. I don't know if I could run that in 16.3. Those guys were hauling at 80 years old. Congratulations. That's a great video. Look that one up. The 80-year-old and older 100-meter dash at the pin relays. Great video. All right, that does it for our show. Thank you, Nick Athen. Thanks to all those for the birthday wishes and for chiming in throughout the show. Always appreciate you. And we'll have a great rest of your Monday. We'll see you back here again in 23 hours for a Tuesday edition of the Morning Blitz. See you then.
This is Rockin' 102.5 KKCI.